Welcome back, Fabi, Lara. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Dale. It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. I started keeping tabs on one of the stocks that you recommended.
Uh-oh.
So here it is.
Now I have
No,
accountability
nice.
too, man.
Yeah, look at that
There
montage.
you
Gold.
go.
You were talking about that. I don't know what was it that the gold that they had in
Mhm.
hand made it
Yeah.
worth what was
So
at
they have a study out that points to basically what we call a resource, right? In the ground resource of gold
okay.
in the I think it's 1.5 billion range. It's definitely more than $1 billion worth of gold in the ground, and that's already like that's the NPV, so it's already cash flow discounted and adjusted, etc. And these guys are extremely on the ball. They have kind of done the same thing before, I think, also in the same region, and they've been able to sell their previous company for over $1 billion. So these aren't
Okay.
exactly cowboys, and they were trading I think at the time for like 150 million versus the 1 billion that they have in the ground. And since then they've been advancing the project. You've seen a
Okay.
lot of mess in West Africa with Niger and their coup, and there's Burkina Faso and all the attacks that are happening there. And the region that they're in has actually, so far, fingers crossed, been completely unscathed and protected from all the chaos. So yeah,
Okay.
they're still I think they're still a good bet.
I think that it's interesting, and people should think about that if they do their own research.
Mhm.
The jockey is important, isn't it, Fabi? The
Absolutely.
the management.
And it's even more important when you're talking about mining, in my own opinion, because what you're doing is such a difficult type of project that the geology needs to be right, the jurisdiction needs to be right,
So much.
and the management needs to kind of foresee the problems that they're going to have, and try to lower the risk as much as possible. I mean, if you get somebody who's not really serious and doesn't have massive skin in the game, which this team does have, quite a bit of shareholding. I can't remember the percentage, but they do own quite a bit of shares. Then, at the first trouble, the guys just can't advance the project. And so it doesn't matter if you have gold in the ground, if you can't pull it out, it's worth nothing.
Yeah. And a lot of guys aren't on their first deal. So they
Absolutely.
actually have track records of companies that they've developed from the ground up
Mhm.
that they've sold and they do it again. There are also some CEOs that are deluders.
Yes.
You want to
Well,
address that? I mean,
yes.
one that I know of, having experience in its equity, is McEwen. How many
Ah,
reverse splits are they going to dump on shareholders? So if you know a guy's willing to dilute
yeah.
to finance things,
I can
uh,
barely keep track. Here's the issue, Dale, with mining stocks in general. And this is why you kind of have to tread carefully when you're talking about a mining company or project. You're looking at it and you're thinking, okay, financially, this has legs. But the
yeah,
problem is that that company will not make a cent before they have already proven to the market that they have something worthy of financing. And then they actually have to go out there and get the financing, which means that dilution is absolutely essential for them to keep the lights on.
okay,
And it's kind of a function, it's a function of value versus time, right? So the race, for the jockey analogy that you mentioned previously, the race is that the jockey needs to run fast enough and add enough value to the company faster than they need to dilute, so that by the time they dilute, they've already added more advancements to the project. Because if they catch a bad run, if something happens to their jurisdiction, or if the market just isn't the best for raising, which is what's happening with mining in general right now. It's been very, very low volumes across the board, and just not enough excitement in private placements and financing. Then what
okay,
happens
yeah,
is you have to
Your
raise
stock is
money.
your currency.
Then you're
It,
stuck. Exactly. Your stock is your
it's like the
currency and you have less
it's
and less of it.
yeah, it's like your Fed, the Fed. They
Yeah.
can
The more you
print up
print, the
shares.
the less
Yeah,
value. Exactly.
yeah, and you could
That's
try and
exactly it.
control it with restricted, but even that becomes free trading
It does
eventually.
eventually. Yeah.
A mining trader that I know said Dale, the sweet spots for these companies is when they're in exploration or producer, and the trouble comes when they're building out the mine. That's when you really don't want to own these. You agree with that?
That's probably right. Yeah, I like to get companies when they're a little bit earlier than, we're about to produce our first bar of gold. My dog completely agrees. He invests in miners as well. That's why he's very
Uh,
emphatic about all of this.
I
So
had one of those as a trading assistant.
yeah, there you go. We say that everything that can go wrong in mining will go wrong in mining. And usually
Okay,
when you hold the stock up until production, you know, sometimes you have situations where everything works out right, but that is really the exception. Most projects, they have cost overruns, they are late, there are issues. And so the longer you hold out, then the more risk there is for sure.
okay. I don't know where I got these micro cap silvers. Silver's been pretty hot. Silver and gold have really come to life in the last month since the dollar turned down.
Mhm.
You know any of these companies?
I recognize some of the names. Yeah, I do
Silver
recognize
X?
some of SilverX. So SilverX is a company out of Peru, and they had an issue where they wanted to buy a project that nobody else was able to make work, and they tried to buy that project. And when they were doing their due diligence, they had to backtrack and say, actually, we're not going to take a stab at it, like it really is bad. And then they had to go back to the drawing board. So SilverX is a small company and they have small operations. They do want to grow through acquisition, but in order to do that, they need to basically raise their market cap to a point where they're going to be able to finance their expansions and
Okay.
acquisitions as they wish, because their market cap is too small for the expansions and the financing.
The
they,
listing.
they would have exactly they would have to dilute too much in order to expand in the way that they're planning to.
Okay. I mean, most of these stocks, including Montage, you have to make an appointment to do a trade because, you just pull up what happens intraday and you just have dots.
Yeah,
Okay. All
it's
right.
it's super thinly
Yeah.
traded. Yes. And
Uh,
right now, what's happening right now is that mining stocks are very low volume. So
okay. Even in things
also
like
seasonal.
B2 gold and all of them, they're still not
Well,
getting the
well, well,
flow.
there definitely be, a lot more volume in those producing majors. But overall, across the market, we've seen a tougher financing environment and also just very little volume. We also have a situation, Dale, where in Canada, especially for mining, instead of trying to make a company work privately, and then when they get to a certain point of success, listing them and making them public, it's actually the opposite. So it's really a venture market. That's why, the TSXV is called the TSX Venture. It's because they're like startups. And so what ends up happening is that they have lowered the bar for new companies to come in and list. And you end up having a situation where we have just tons of companies,
A lot of junk.
just a lot, too many, way too many.
You
And on
know
the
this
other
one,
hand,
Santa Cruz?
yes, Santa Cruz, I don't know exactly what's happening right now, but they have slid. They are a producer. And I've been
Okay.
actually quite I guess, curious about what's happening to them, because they were doing quite well, and the price has slid a lot. I know that they had a little bit of trouble with their financials coming out. You know, they had to push it forward, or push it back a little bit. And I don't know what is going on. And I don't know if with Santa Cruz in particular, we know the full story. I don't know if the full story is
Okay.
public. I don't know if they're having some production
I-
issues that we don't know
Okay.
about.
I just have one more, then I'm going to ask you for names. How about Guantanamo
Yeah.
silver? You know this one?
I've heard of it, but I don't know enough to be completely honest with you. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know if their grades are, you know, making them profitable. I know that they're a small producer as well.
Well,
But
you know, you nailed the uranium market
I
interesting.
came here for Victory Lap
Okay.
for
Uh, I
uranium.
I think it's topping up here. Even
Yes.
Chemical looks like it's getting a little heavy. So with your newsletter, the next big rush,
Mhm.
you also cover it might be the next big rush could be a rush to sell and take
Um,
because it's not a profit till you take it.
that's true. It's not profit until you take it, but there is a big gap now. Here is the challenge, and something that I've been harping on for a few good months, Dale. The Sprott physical
Slot.
uranium, it you know, it paints a picture exactly of what's happening in the spot price.
Right.
Now, what we've seen is that the equities have not followed the spot price. Now, the question is,
This one was a home run.
when are they going to? Yeah, UEC has done really, really well. And when you take a look, I think maybe a good indicator of the general equities in this market would be URNM. URNM will show you that we have hit, let's see, URNM. Yeah, that we had I think we had a high in November or maybe September 2021.
Okay. I'm
Um,
pulling it up right now.
yeah, I'm not,
That's is
I
that
don't
it?
think this
It's
is, no, it's a different
10
one.
cents.
URNM.
Okay.
No, it's a different one. It's
Okay.
Sprott Uranium Miners ETF. So it's URNM
Oh,
in the New York Stock Exchange. URNM. Huh, it's weird how it doesn't show. Oh, maybe you're under stocks. I think you have to click on all
okay.
because it's an ETF. There you
Okay.
go.
Sprott uranium
Sprott. Yeah, yeah.
miners.
That's the
Okay.
one.
Okay.
That's the one. Okay.
Got it.
So it, like, if you look at it, we're just now reaching the highs of November
Yeah.
2021. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you take a look at what the spot price of uranium has done in the meantime, and
It's
you could,
overshot.
it has way overshot. So when I look at the chart, I think on your, yeah, your own trading view as well. If you go to UX1 exclamation mark, that shows you the actual spot price of uranium. And with the actual spot price of uranium, you can see that way back in, let's see, November of 21, we were looking at, you know, just under $50 per pound of uranium. And let's
Yeah.
see.
I mean, I didn't pull up the one you had, but these are Sprott
Yeah, and
physical uranium.
so it reflects it.
But it
It reflects.
demonstrates the fact that the stocks have not taken out the highs from
Absolutely.
21.
And so
And
we
okay.
were looking in
Yeah.
2021 at a high in stocks
Right.
and a sub $50 uranium per pound of uranium spot price. Now we're
Okay.
looking at an $81 spot uranium, and the stocks are just now reaching those highs.
Yeah.
And so now the question is, are they going to catch up and kind of close a gap, so to speak, an
Yeah.
imaginary gap, because nobody knows where that tops? Or, are we going to find ourselves looking at spot price coming down? And this is when it really pays to know the fundamentals behind the uranium story. I have seen really great analysts that I really respect. I don't know if I'm as bullish as they are, but I've seen prices thrown around from 200 to 300 to even $500 per pound.
Wow. Wow.
Having said that, we have gone through the least amount of volume in the spot market for the last 18 months. That was November, and the price went up 10%. What we're seeing in the spot market right now is almost no volume, and any volume whatsoever really moves the price. And we're coming to the conclusion, and it takes a lot of research to come to this conclusion, but it's what we've come to. The order books for most producers are getting full very quickly, and there's nothing left for the spot market. The spot market is very small compared to the long-term market. And we're finding ourselves in a situation where there just isn't enough material to go around. And so the little bit of material that there is, the utilities that need to top up their needs with uranium, they're going to a spot market that doesn't have enough material. So they're bidding the price up because they don't have an alternative. There's absolutely no alternative for uranium. It's not like,
So it doesn't take
silver,
hardly.
copper. It
Yeah.
doesn't take anything for the price to continue to climb. And we see that it has become very much a seller's market. Case in point, very quickly. There is a very well-known South Korean utility that would come to the market usually with, a request for proposal and ask suppliers to bid on, their contract. And get this, if you were a supplier that refused their proposal, you would get onto a blacklist and they would avoid trading with you in the near future. They have put out a request for proposal, I think 2 months ago, and the floor of the proposal was actually below the current spot price, and the ceiling was about, I think, $90, right? So I think it was 58 floor and a $90 ceiling, and it went no bid. This was back in September to October. Completely no bid. So in short, everybody's on the blacklist. They can't trade with anybody. And I'm only, half joking about this, but the utilities that used to be able to get uranium for cheap are finally coming around and realizing that there is no more uranium that you can get cheaply. And it is very difficult, very costly to, turn on the spigot and just produce more uranium. It doesn't work like
Can't
that.
be done.
Can't be
It
done.
probably takes 10 years
Yeah.
to get
And
a
it takes
mine
the right
online.
people to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And we don't have many of those around.
Okay, let me ask you this. You've probably been through, many Decembers as an investor. Do you think that tax loss selling or, for things that aren't performing, the uranium shares have done well, but, I don't think there's a lot of people making money in gold or silver shares, even though we've
100%.
had this recent run. Do you think we'll see some pressure on
Yes.
these issues?
Uh,
And
I
when's
think
it
we're already
over?
seeing it. I think we're already seeing it. I
Okay.
think by December, some people are able to come back into the market already. But I would look at silver stocks, I would look at gold stocks, and I would also take a look at copper stocks. Some copper stocks, haven't really performed. I can't remember any like charts off the top of my head that I could mention, but I remember taking a look at a couple of them very briefly, and they just didn't look good for the same reason. Gold and silver have been suffering quite a bit. And the thing with copper is that there has been some pressure in copper production lately. We have a mine out of Panama. It's at least 1% of global production. and the government decided to shut it down. There have been protests regarding the mine and how they were treating the environment. The protests just grew bigger and bigger, and I'm sure that there were some political interests tied up to it as well.
Okay.
And they're shutting down the mine. I don't know for how long. So the situation also in Chile, Argentina is likely to get better, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, the situation of supply and copper is one to watch going into 2024 for sure.
Okay. So um, I get your stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I want people to be able to, get it too. So this is where they go.
That's where they go,
What's
the
your
next big
website?
rush.
Next
Yeah.
bigrush.com. To read what I like about Fabi is that sometimes she actually goes to these sites and walks around them. And do you put in calls to CEOs, and or do you mainly talk to IR people that always are bullish?
I usually talk to CEOs. You would be very surprised at how easy to reach CEOs in the mining space are. And so, they approach me. A lot of them do read the newsletter. And it's really, it can go both ways. It's good to be able to reach them and actually, get the story from the horse's mouth. It is also a well-known fact that most successful CEOs in the mining industry are extremely good salespeople. And so
Okay,
you have to take that interaction with a grain of salt, because they are going to put on, their very best show when they're talking to you. But
that's what
absolutely, they're
Mark
very
Twain
easy.
said. What's a gold mine? It's
It's
two,
a
two liars standing
a
over a
whole
hole.
with layer on top of it. Yeah.
All right.
That hasn't
Uh,
changed at all.
Okay, so it's still the Wild West, and that's why you need people that dig in to balance sheets on these companies. It's not a pure play when you're buying a company.
Yeah.
You could uranium could skyrocket, and if you're in the wrong issue and they have a problem, you'll be watching uranium go up and your shares decline. So
There you go.
tough game you chose there, Fabi. You're
I
pretty
know, but
tough.
it's fun. I like the
Yeah.
thrill.
All right. Well, I want to wish you, great holiday season. Appreciate you taking time out
Thank
every few
you.
months to come and say hi to us, and really hope that everything you touch turns out to be a major strike
Thank you so much,
or a
Dale.
major vein.
I really appreciate it. And let's hope that gold and silver and copper are doing much better next time that we connect, and we can,
I think they're doing. I
celebrate
mean,
that.
gold's on the verge of a major breakout over
It really
2080.
is. And
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you, I wasn't counting on that. If that can be
yeah.
sustained, then it's going to look, the discrepancy between what companies have in the ground versus what the market's telling them is going to grow even wider. So that's even more exciting to me.
And I what kept me a little cynical until lately was the miners, but they've broken out. Here's GDX. I don't know what's going to do today, but look, that you have like a breakout over 30.
Hmm.
Most of them have really performed well.
Yeah. Take a
So
look at the
they're
GDXJ for even like more junior companies
yeah,
to see if
and
they
I
have
have
more
the
torque.
SILJ looks
There
good.
you go. Hmm.
Okay, this is the best looking chart I have on the board.
FSM,
Fortuna.
Fortuna.
So you already have 50% gains here. I wouldn't chase it up here,
Yeah.
but buy any pullback towards
If I'm
2030.
not mistaken, they came out with like amazing financials. I
Okay.
could be wrong, because
Yeah.
there's so many of
Well, here
them.
was
It's hard to
earnings
keep
right
track.
here.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
So that was, the
that
market
was
bought
it.
it bottomed before any of these other ones did,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
if you look at even Majestic, um, it's breaking out of a falling wedge.
Yeah.
They all look good, Fabi. Do you know this one,
Which one
Calibra?
is that? Caliber Mining. So they used to be somewhere in Central America, and I'm not sure if that's
Okay.
changed. And so I haven't followed them
It might be
for a few
Nicaragua.
years. I
Yeah.
think it was Nicaragua, but I don't know if it still is because I had a feeling that they had moved on. So I'm not really sure.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for being here.
No problem. Thank you, Dale. All the best.
Really, and I'll get a hold of you later and we'll schedule something for next year.
Let's do it. Count me
All
in.
right. Fabi
Yes.
Lara, everyone, follow her at the Next Big Rush. Go to her website and read her stuff. And that's going to be a wrap for Thursday, everybody. Have a great day. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. You could join the team in 18 minutes on the morning edge. Adios.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.